would have been if they paid James millions to be their star player, and he did not play. MLS needs players like James. This is like any other club getting a 6-month loan for a player. He's trying to get himself ready in Minnesota, and Minnesota desperately needed him. I don't see anything wrong. Minnesota trying to change something like sell tickets, and maybe a creative player can spark us. This is stupid. He's played like a total of like 8 games. I know he played really well in the last game, but he used this league because he can't go anywhere else, which, dude, in 2014, this guy was unreal. Went to Real Madrid, went to Bayern, went to Everton. Didn't really do anything at either place. I guess he wasn't bad on a loan at Everton. But this is a horrible look for the league. Why? Because this guy is a washed-up player. Washed-up player at this point in time. And he used this league as a pedestal, as a stepping stone to get his fitness, his touches, to get himself game ready for the World Cup, which he is now leaving the club to go join with Colombia ahead of their, I think it's 2 weeks from today, is when they start their World Cup preparation. Guys, this guy is using this league to just play 10 games. He probably got paid tons of money for this whole thing, and he just showed up, played a couple of games, and is now out. I mean, he had 5 goals, 2 assists on the year. How many games did this guy this guy 5 games. Oh my God. 5 games. 5 games. Yeah, that's great, guys. That's great. Yeah, let's just keep letting all these washed up players continue to cook in our league. But anyway, just a bad look for 5 games, 2 assists. 1 goal. For sure. Yeah, 3 goal contributions in 5 games, and then he just gets up and leaves. Yeah, that's great. No, it's a failed stint because they brought in a high-name guy and a big-name guy, and he just showed up, played 5 games, and said, yeah, I'm going to leave. And he's probably getting paid for it all because it's Minnesota and it's the MLS. They probably didn't think of anything like that. Shout out to James for just finding a loophole in the system of the soccer world and chose the MLS to dominate Minnesota. This is why I can't take you seriously in any sports outside of my guy Ant-Man. I love Anthony Edwards. I think he's a dog. I just like that he doesn't care about anyone. This is why the state of Minnesota, I can't take you seriously in anything outside of, Minnesota Duluth University hockey. That's really about all I can take you seriously in, because you guys have the longest drought without a championship. Minnesota United clearly isn't doing any favors in the University of Minnesota. Row the boat! Yeah. What has PJ Fleck done for you? Absolutely nothing. That's why I can't take the state seriously in sports.
Desperation can really be seen and understood when you settle. When people see you settle on whatever it is, and you know that you could obviously do better for yourself in whatever situation in life, but you decide to just settle on this. I'm going to settle on this because it is what it is. The only option that I have available to myself right now. It is in my mind, you're right. It is a sign of desperation. But it is to Gomez's point, it's an opportunity for the team to, again, just sell tickets, bring people out. Look at who we have, new shiny object. Come out and spend your money. Come watch him play. And so that is, from a financial perspective for Minnesota. Yeah, why not? Just bring him in for a few games for the MLS. What's the big deal? I think the issue is that it's not, we can call it a stepping stone. And for the young players coming up through the MLS, it certainly is a stepping stone. It is a prospect league. However, the free agency side of this, I do think it is the free agency league as well. The only problem is, are you able to actually hold on to these guys, or are they just coming to get, leftovers and then leaving wherever they need to go in order to, do what they actually want to do? Are they just using you as a training ground? That's where it becomes really hard for me, because it doesn't seem like there's a lot of respect in that specific scenario for the league itself. Again, you're just simply a glorified training ground so that you can stay fresh, stay ready for the World Cup. But if there was no World Cup coming up, you probably wouldn't see this. You probably wouldn't see these moves. You probably wouldn't see players just joining late just so that they can, again, just get their bodies ready for what's coming up. So I have no problem with Major League Soccer being a free agency league. I mean, if there's a 32, 33, 34-year-old floating around out there, and when you look at James Rodriguez's career, going back to, he's been playing since 2006. He had 6 years on Real Madrid. Obviously, he was only with Everton for a year. I'm pretty sure his best stint was probably with Madrid. But outside of that, I mean, like he's been playing for a long, long time. I'm okay with being the free agency league. That's okay. That in my mind is not a bad thing. The only issue is he comes in for a handful of matches and then he's gone. At that point, it seems like pandering for Major League Soccer. But also, I'll ask you this question, Ryan, because I hear you talk a lot about washed up players coming over here and playing. What other option do they have in order to raise? Yes, what other option do they have?
Develop our young players and get them out of here.
I know.
That's really all.
I get it.
I've been watching this USA Soccer documentary on Vice TV, I think, and to be honest with you, I don't think we've really changed much in terms of our domestic league since the 70s when Pele showed up. Like they would talk about it. Pele was at a game, 70,000 people or 20,000, 30,000 people would show up. Pele's not playing at the game for the New York Cosmos. 1,000, 2,000 people might show up. It's the same thing with Messi. Our domestic league hasn't changed at all, and I don't want to be a free agent league. That is a horrible look for us because we are giving these old washed-up players runs within our team where maybe they're taking a spot from a domestic American player that is a young 18, 19, 20-year-old who is, look, Messi showing up to Inter Miami, it's not going to help the United States necessarily grow the game. Sure, people will go out to go see him, but we've already done this experiment with Pele. It didn't change anything, really. We still suck. Our domestic leagues haven't overtaken, the sport hasn't overtaken any sport other than maybe hockey or baseball. It's the only ones that they could maybe overtake. But we've done this rodeo before. We've done this dance before. It will help sell tickets for that particular team, that being Inter Miami, that being the New York Cosmos. Those are the two teams that it's helped. And obviously probably the away stadiums, it'll help. But that takes away a spot from a young American domestic player. And James Rodriguez, who's getting paid $684,000 to be here for 5 matches, I mean, what's going on? We're just trying to sell tickets in Minnesota. Look, I don't think anyone really wants to watch a soccer game outdoors in Minnesota in May, April, or March. That sounds like a horrible way to spend your day outside in the Minnesota winter or whatever the remains of the winter. I think it's a horrible look. No, we are giving away opportunities, which, by the way, I just saw the bottom on my phone notification. Liverpool is getting ready to launch a bid for Jan Diomande, the UPSL guy that's now valued at $75 billion. That's pretty cool. And he played high school soccer here in Florida. I think that's pretty cool. Not an American, by the way. But no, I am not okay with our domestic league being a free agent league. How do you think? Let's say, how do you think the French American or the French basketball leagues or the English, I don't know, like the Spanish soccer or basketball leagues would be like? Yeah, just give us like, I don't know, Kyle Lowry at the age of like 36, or like another baller in what's another old DeMar DeRozan at the age of 36, or Steph Curry at the age of like 45, LeBron James when he's 50. Like, let's have them come over here. No, that's horrible. That is a dumb thing to do. That's dumb. They don't want that. I'm
gonna have to disagree. I'm gonna have to disagree with you on that one.
What is it going to grow their game domestically? No, it's not.
Would it grow their game? No. I mean, I don't think the game necessarily needs any help growing, especially in a place like France. But would they absolutely take? Yes. Yes, they would take Curry at 44, 45. Yes, absolutely they would. Kyle Lowry, all those guys. DeMar DeRozan. Like, it raises the excitement level. But the James Rodriguez thing is weird because of, again, just how brief it was. But you're right. I mean, to your point of taking a roster spot away from a kid who probably deserves it or someone who's worked their way into that spot, you're 100% correct. But we don't have any American-born bona fide superstars. I know we love our Christian Pulisics and our Weston McKennies and those guys, but until we get to that point, it's yes, those types of players, albeit 30 plus years old and well past the prime of their career, are going to be the ones that make your league more marketable. I love the USL. Don't get me wrong. Players aren't coming here to play in the USL. They're coming here to play in Major League Soccer because of the money and the resources.
USL is rivaling the MLS in terms of views, but the MLS has all these different players, then something's got to be completely wrong.
I think there are certain matchups probably in the USL that get more viewership than others, but there's no 5 teams in the USL that are valued at over $1 billion. That's I mean, I know that money doesn't tell the whole story, but we've mentioned this before. The MLS is top heavy, right? You have your top clubs who people really care about, they really show up to, they love seeing play, they love seeing succeed.
Well,
You know, the
look at
Miamis of the
Vancouver.
world.
They really care about their club, and they're leaving.
But you can care about your club, but still not be financially viable. You know, like
But if
I'm
they
sure there
cared
were
so
people
much
that
and they kept showing up, they wouldn't leave.
mm, the people who do care, but clearly not enough people care. Like,
So then that's
why
an
they're not
MLS
doing
issue,
well.
and it's not growing the league. Having all
I think
these
it's a
superstars is not growing anything. Thomas Mueller should have brought in all these different types of people to come watch him play. He plays for the Whitecaps. They literally went to the final, and they're moving, and they have old superstars, and they have American kind of borderline USA men's national team players, and they are moving. Clearly, this aging superstar free agent league that we're talking about clearly does not help. Clearly.
Yeah, well, I mean, it is Canada too, and I mean, like, let's not pretend like Major League Baseball hasn't
What?
had.
First off, why are
teams move
MLS teams even in Canada? That's the dumbest thing. Why are MLS teams even in Canada?
You know, maybe Toronto. Maybe I'll give you that because Toronto's so close to
Vancouver,
the US anyways,
Montreal.
like, yeah, no, it shouldn't. Yeah, no, I agree with what you're saying because it's just so far down the list in Canada. I mean, it's not even. You talk about popularity relative to other sports in the U.S. Everything is hockey in Canada. I mean, even their best Shea will tell you this. Dylan Brooks will tell you this. You know, like everything is hockey in that country. So I agree. But from an American perspective, I guess that's kind of the angle I was coming from talking about the MLS. I know Canadian teams are a part of it, but I think, you know, if you have a chance to get star power, you take it. And the things that we're mentioning about what the MLS needs to do, it is happening, but I also think it takes time. It takes time. But AC Grand Rapids is about to be the best soccer team that ever walked the face of the planet. So book it here on Inside the Game. Grand Rapids, Michigan, 616. Anyways,